Hey there. Amazing place, right? They're all over. I've lived here long enough to start finding a lot of these incredible, secret, magical treasures around the area. You know, I think this is a really special place, but I believe that there are magical hidden places just about everywhere. Yeah, that is what you think it is. It is a child's bike upside down in a tree. People like to do weird things around here. I am not sure what the statement is that this person is making. So, good morning, peoples. It's me in the woods. It's pretty early. I snoozed a bit this morning. I had trouble sleeping. That's what happens when you eat chocolate and raw cacao before bed. I have been continuing to go outside every morning, even if the best I could do was a little walk around my neighborhood, or as much as this morning, which I rode my bike out to a lovely destination, and it has continued to be really good for me, and I'm really grateful that it's happening and it's working out. And I'm grateful for you because you help me stay motivated. I haven't been recording every day anymore for a couple reasons. One reason is that I've gotten really busy and I have other things that I also need to focus on. So the other reason, though, is that I've been having a little bit of an early YouTube existential crisis. If you watch much YouTube, you're probably familiar with the YouTube existential crisis. I feel like most of my favorite YouTubers have had at least one time when they go through talking about, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and it's just so interesting because it's just a completely open book. I mean, you can do anything with it, and that's what people do, is anything. And you have no parameters or, you know, externally imposed guidelines or boundaries. And sometimes having that much freedom can be confusing. I think that also the more I do these videos and I see what it is that I'm producing, the more I start to think, I could improve this. You know, maybe I'd like to do like more focused videos where I've showered and my hair looks nice, and where I know what I'm gonna say ahead of time, and I'm very concise and make it more of like a useful, ready-made product for somebody. And the last couple days I had been thinking more about that and thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have such long, spacey videos where I don't necessarily have a point that I'm getting to, or I take my time getting there, if there is one. And I'm sure that I will. I think that I am gonna start, you know, eventually making higher and higher quality videos and having like things that I do later in the day when I have my thoughts together more clearly and everything. But that doesn't mean that I can't also do this, because this is a particular special thing that I'm doing. This is what I just realized this morning. I want to keep doing this, mainly because it's good for me. Hopefully it's good for you too. But I realized that this has been really, really inspiring me and building my confidence. And I mean, what this is I'm just sharing my process with you. This is like the spiritual and creative process that feeds me, and sharing it has only made it that much better for me. So I think that there is value in that for the people that have the attention span and the interest in watching that. It's fun for me to share it with you, and it has been transformative already, and it's just beginning. So here's an example of how I've become more confident since I started doing these videos. There's this local business owner who, you know, he's started a couple businesses that are successful and have been around for a long time, and he's very well respected in the community. You know, sometimes small business owners can become like a local celebrity, and he's one of those. And for a long time I've been thinking that I want to talk to him about this business idea that I had. I want him to put coupons for my massage with his products to his customers. And, that's a terrifying thing to try to ask somebody. That's a big growing edge for me, and having my own business is talking to people that I don't know and people who I perceive as being important, and, having the opportunity to be rejected and everything. So obviously I've been putting that off for a long time. Yesterday, I happened to just walk by him. I had just gotten a juicy peach from the farmer's market. It was delicious. And I'm just walking down the hall in this building, and I see him, and I'm like, hey, are you so-and-so? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I wanted to talk to you. He's like, okay. And I just start talking about my idea, with peach juice dripping down my arm, and and he listened. And at the end I was like, so would you be interested in that? And he was like, I could be interested. And I was like, all right, so I'll leave my information with your people. And he was like, okay. And afterwards I was like, I can't believe I just did that. But that's the way that I think that I need to do things. Sometimes that's how it is. It's sometimes you won't be as nervous if you just don't have any time to think about it. So that was the line of thinking that I was going with, was just this is the moment. I haven't had time to get nervous. I'm just gonna do it and be casual and just be myself. There is a crazy, crazy bug. What is it? I wish I could show you, but this camera is not good enough to show you. Just imagine a really fascinating thing that just flew by. So who knows? He might say yes, he might say no. I sent him a follow-up email, and we'll see what happens. But I think just the fact that I asked is a really big deal for me. And it could be a gateway drug to asking more people more things, because, everybody that's been in any kind of business or created anything will tell you that failure is a big part of eventually having success, and that you have to get lots of no's before you get to the yes, and that I just have to become comfortable with no's. And I think that is something that is beginning to sink in for me. I'm beginning to get some level of comfort with getting no, and that is helping me to ask more often. And I know, that it's really actually just a statistical thing. There are things that you can do to improve your statistics of how often you're going to get a yes, but I think that pretty much anybody is going to get a yes eventually if they ask enough people. And I'm not anybody. I am a cool person doing a cool thing. And that's the other thing. That's what it comes right back to, is that in that interaction, I was very much myself, I was just eating a peach, walking down the hallway, and that's better than when I'm trying to squeeze myself into some kind of a box and be a professional and be, I don't know, anything other than what I am. And that's the other thing that doing this vlogging is helping me with, is embracing who I am and recognizing that who I am is great, and the more I am that, the more people are actually going to like me, and the more successful I'm actually going to be. I'm really starting to believe that, because I'm already seeing that. People responding better to me, and obviously I enjoy it more when I get to be myself. All this stuff might seem obvious to you, especially if you're a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was all about individuality. I was like, whatever, I'm going to be myself. Screw anybody who says otherwise. But something happened when I went to massage school, or more around when I graduated from massage school. All of a sudden I started to think, oh my God, I'm a professional now. Even before I started my own business, when you're a massage therapist, you're pretty much always, to some extent, running your own business, because you gotta please your customers. They're not gonna come back. You're not gonna be making any money. So, all of a sudden, the way I looked and the way that I conducted myself became under a lot of scrutiny, probably more for myself than anybody else. And, I used to make my own clothes. I had dreadlocks. I really enjoyed being out of the box and creative in the way that I presented myself. But I went through a long period of trying to become more normal looking. And you know, a lot of like therapists try to become a blank slate. Like they don't share their personality as much with their clients. They just try to become sort of like this prototype of a professional. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm tired of that crap. I decided not to do that so much, and I've just been becoming more and more myself in every way. Obviously, this hairdo, I just got this haircut a couple weeks ago, and that was a big deal for me. Like, you know what? I'm gonna get a crazy haircut because I want to, and people have responded really well to it. I actually think that people are respecting me more. Isn't that amazing? They're respecting me because I'm being myself. They didn't respect me as much when I was this like frozen person who's trying to fit into some box that doesn't work for me. In my clothes, I've been wearing clothes that are a little more unique and creative, and all of it has been going well. Here's another thought about being myself and why it's better. It makes me more interested in what I'm doing and more willing to put my effort and time and energy into it, because that's something I've struggled with from the beginning. I've been practicing massage for about 7 years, and I just started my own practice this summer, and obviously I've put a lot more energy and effort into it since then. But even now, I'm still noticing how I resist something about working on my business. I love doing massage, it's not that. And I really try to bring like everything I have to every session. It's more the business aspect of it. It's that when I don't think that I can be myself in my work, then I'm not as interested in my work. You know, it's kind of an obvious thing. The more I feel like I'm allowed to really bring all of myself and express myself, the more passionate and excited I start to get about it. That's the thing. That's why this is helping me, because I'm just like totally free to be who I am and do and talk about whatever I want, and that like excites me and that awakens my passion, and it's making me realize like, oh, why don't I feel that for my business, and is there a way that I can get more of this into my business? And I think that the way to get that into my business is just by finding more and more ways to bring my real self into my work. And I think that it's inevitable that that is going to help my clients more, because I have more access to my unique gifts. Alright guys, thanks for listening. I hope that you got something good out of this conversation. You know, I think the takeaway is being yourself is awesome, no matter what, you know? No matter what. I mean, just think about it, like, it's always the wacky people that turn out to be, like, really respected in their field, you know? I think there's a connection there. Not just that, like, not that you should act wacky in order to be successful, but if you are wacky and you're trying to hold it back, then you're not going to be as successful as if you let that shit loose. And I think maybe everybody is wacky when they're really honest, and so I think maybe it's more of a connection between the courage to really be yourself and unleashing your creative genius.